hell made out of ice. Please, don't hurt me. I've done nothing wrong. Dr. Crane was a good man. He begged me not to unalive him. I could never imagine how it feels to have a loaded shotgun pointed toward your face. Or what is left of it anyways. The worst thing is, that I genuinely don't know if he meant it. I didn't know how much of his mind was left and how much was altered or completely dissolved. I fired. A spray of blood, brain matter, and bone painted the wall as the left side of his head was taken away by the fast-flying buckshot. Dr. Crane collapsed onto the ground into a heap. What could I have possibly done so wrong, that I now deserve to be here and experience this? I felt sick. Not because I've just unalived someone. No. Compared to what I was seeing, unaliving someone was nothing. This was wrong on so many levels, that it's hard for me to find words to describe it. Even after losing half of his brain, Dr. Crane was still attempting to talk but ended up only uttering absolute nonsense as his body twitched and rolled on the ground and kept spilling this brown fluid everywhere across the lab from the tumor-like growths all over his body. It looked like most of his body mass was used up to create those tumors. In the few places, where there were none, his skin was pulled tight around his bones. His face was the worst. It almost looked like a bear skull. After a few moments, he stabilized himself with his back facing the ground and started shambling toward me using his left arm and leg. The right side of his body went limp. I started slowly walking backward. I was almost at the door now. Is something broken? Something Dr. Crane announced just before I heard a loud crack. I thought I stepped on something, but then I realized that it was Dr. Crane's kneecap that cracked. He twisted and unnatural it and jumped right at me. Another shot stopped the monstrosity in midair and another 3 ensured that it wouldn't try it again. He was still moving a little bit as I made my way out of the lab and locked the door shut. What a mess. Blake, what are we supposed to do with Stevens? Jamie brought me back to my senses. What's up with him? I asked. He ate his effing guts out. Omar responded half yelling. Oh right. Crane ate Stevens' effing guts out. How did I miss that? I wasn't thinking straight anymore. Few people would have after what just happened. Throw him outside and burn him. Blake, but I think he's still alive. Jamie argued. You heard what I said. And please, put some effing gloves on. Don't let his blood get on you. Just in case. And clean up the blood afterward as I noticed a crimson trail left on the floor as they dragged him away. Aren't you going to help? Stevens asked angrily. Damn it. Spears, not Stevens. Stevens had his guts eaten out. Spears was dragging Stevens away. Stevens, Spears. Spears, Stevens. Duck. When I'm going to finally learn that. I guess I won't be confusing their names anymore. No, I'm going to have a drink. Come to Antarctica during the polar winter, they said. It'll be fun, they said. We were supposed to learn about how life on Earth originated. Instead, we only learned how life on Earth could end. Anyway, our mission here was to drill out the oldest ice sample ever collected. You can see the whole of Earth's history in the Antarctic ice. A few meters deep, it's just regular ice. A few dozen of meters deep, you can see how much less carbon dioxide and radioactive dust and other junk we've thrown into the air during the last century the older ice contains. A few hundred meters deep, things start getting interesting. Sometimes you can find frozen prehistoric microbes. Sometimes, you can get a sample of the air that dinosaurs breathed. But when we pulled out sample number 127, we didn't expect to find these strange metal-like crystals that were embedded inside. I wish we never pulled it out. I don't know what it is or how it got there. I think Dr. Crane called it a primordial cocktail once, but I don't care anymore. Dr. Crane got himself unalived by studying it. The crystals thawed at room temperature into a repulsive brownish yellow fluid. The last few days, he was obsessed with it. So much that he wasn't even sleeping or eating anymore. He spent the whole day in his lab. I think he spilled it on himself or something. I don't know. And I probably won't be able to ask him anymore. Stevens decided to bring him some food this evening. Little did he know that he would become the food himself. Did you know that there is no day and night cycle here on the poles? It's just constant sunlight during the polar summer and constant darkness during the polar winter. It's not pitch black, because some light still reaches this place, mostly from the stars and atmospheric scattering. Well, let me also tell you that during a snowstorm, it is pitch black. No one is coming to help us in this weather. They might nuke this place to ashes when the storm passes. I wouldn't object after what I've just seen. God bless that somehow our connection is still working. I'm writing this in case I don't get to live another day in this ice hell. That's all I have to say right now. Now, excuse me while I try to wash away my fear with alcohol. Anyway, I'll be brief because I've got to go fast. So last night, I probably had a bit more drinks than I should have had and I somehow managed to forget to post what I had written down yesterday. Anyway, the next thing I remember was getting shaken by Spears like there was no tomorrow. So I opened my eyes and he says, Blake, wake up. We have a problem. Stevens is gone.